You're listening to The Arms Room on the Vets on Media Network.
All right, you're on the Arms Room with Glenn.
And Brian.
Oh,
and
Brian.
Mason.
Oh, God. He's got to hop in there.
I thought he was going to molest that mic the way he attacked it. He was like, oh, I got a mic.
So our new Cowtown studio, and Mason's still on the camera and still feeling sad about it. We need to fix that or something. We need to mount the camera up on the wall so that Mason, because you're closer to us now than you used to be at the old studio, Mason.
We'll work something out.
I agree with that.
People want to see this. We have to get this out there.
I must say, though, as my first time at the Cowtown studio, this is nice.
Pretty nice, right?
This is
It's classy.
nice.
Pretty nice.
Very
It's still,
nice.
it's still in the works. We got more stuff coming up behind us. We're going to get a great new photo or banner or something. Last week we had like the Cowtown banner up. We were just too lazy to put up this week, but we've got some other cool pictures and stuff coming up behind us. So the studio's turning out really nice.
Yeah, I'd like to apologize for last week. I really tried to make it down here.
Yeah, how dare you? How dare you not come to the show
Almost died.
and needing a root canal?
To our
because
inaugural show.
Our
You
inaugural
could-
show.
Gosh.
all you had was infection in your jaw, Brian.
Right. So my wife, as I'm leaving the house, she's like, "Are you seriously going to go do the show?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to go do the show. It'll be fine." And I took a whole bunch of drugs, some Vicodin, some of this, some of that.
Yeah, let's
Everything.
clarify that. Okay.
I took a bunch of drugs.
drugs before I left.
So I get about 40 minutes from my house, and my face goes numb. Like literally, like after you've gotten a Novocaine injection, and an hour later, your lips start tingling and waking up.
Yeah.
That's how I felt just randomly. And by the way, all the drugs I took, not an effect, none whatsoever. I was like, okay, I'm turning around. And straight to the dentist.
Well, I'm glad that all got taken care of.
6.5 hours in the chair.
I'll pass on that.
Awesome.
That's like a slow Tuesday.
All right. So I had a pretty great weekend. I went to the Arizona Game and Fish's outdoor expo at Ben Avery. And I've been there, I don't know, for a long time. My family and I have been going. We missed last year, which was sad, but we've been going pretty much, for, I don't know, a while. And I always have a good time. I will say the one downside to it was it's definitely getting smaller.
Really?
And it feels like there's less people there. But I was really super sad, because normally when I go there, they have a bunch of gun vendors there.
Right.
And I go to Smith & Wesson and I buy like a full cylinder of 500 Smith & Wesson.
Oh, no.
And it's like $3 a round or whatever. And I fire them all as fast as I can. I usually do really well. I hit good targets and all that. And then that's it. And then I just wait till the next year because I feel
good.
And then I
I
feel
have no
good.
reason to ever buy that.
No use. I'm not killing grizzly bears
Not
or
moose
whatever.
hunting with pistols.
So, but they weren't there this year. Smith & Wesson was not there. In fact,
Really?
most of the gun vendors who were there were either not there this year or were much smaller. They just didn't have as much there. And I went over to the Glock because I was super excited that maybe they were going to have a Glock 43 there to try out, but no dice on that.
Really?
Yeah, it was a little sad, but overall it was still a great event. I don't know how you say, a herpetological society, the reptiles people.
You just described the study of herpes. I think,
I
you
think
meant
that's a
something
true
else.
statement.
No,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's called the Herpetological Society. Anyways, freaking reptiles, all right?
I'll Google it.
And go for it,
Please.
bored guy. So they had an alligator, a real live alligator there. And its jaw, of course, was, taped shut. And so the kids got to touch the alligator. I got to touch the alligator. First time I've ever actually touched a live alligator. And I tell you what, that armor that they have on their body
It's impressive,
is
isn't it?
pretty impressive. Even on the soft spots, where you're like, I'm like poking him in the belly and stuff. And even doing that, there's a pretty good armor.
No, it's great armor. The people shoot at those things. I think we've had this conversation. I'm originally from Florida. I've lived all over the country. You've heard about all the
Yeah. You've done the shoot the gator and all that kind of stuff.
No, I never shot the gator. I've gone swimming with the gators. We used to go
swimming.
camping in the Everglades. So I've touched many a gators. Sometimes not
Unintentionally.
Yeah. Like, what was that? It moved. Everybody out, and all of a sudden, boom! It surfaces, and you say, "All right, new swimming holes."
Man,
As a
I can't
kid,
imagine.
when you're from somewhere, you don't think anything of it, and here, 30 years later, I'm like, "That was stupid."
That is crazy, man.
Herpetology.
Yeah, but it's the herpetological. Would be the study of herpetology.
Herpetology.
Herpetological.
Okay.
It's a society,
Don't
Mason.
you ever question
I'll
me
concede
again.
this one to you.
You better. You're within punching distance now. You used to be out of arm's reach.
I will throw your keyboard.
Throw that. Show will be over. But it was a really great opportunity. I'll tell you, kids had a great time. Kids did some shooting. Always proud of my oldest son. Every time I watch him go shoot, away from me, I'm always impressed by his safety and his ability, man. I mean, the kid's getting to the point where he's almost shooting as well as I do. It's kind of frustrating.
He's a little bit slower, but he's just as good.
Yeah,
I'm always impressed when I shoot with your son. And like you said, not just the fact that how old is he now?
He's 11.
11. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I thought so. And not just the fact that he shoots so well for an 11-year-old, but the manipulation and the safety.
Mm.
It impresses the hell out of me. That I've never seen him muzzle sweep or flag or drop or lose control in any way, shape, or form. And we've done a lot of fun exercises together, and he's good. If I were you, I'd be looking for some junior competition.
I really want to get involved in some kind of competition shooting.
He's there.
Yeah, he's got the ability to perform under a little bit of stress and pressure and all that. It doesn't bother him to shoot in front of people. So
It doesn't bother him when we're in the background yelling.
not at all.
Not at all.
He likes it. So it'd be pretty cool. I did make contact with some people there that I've always wanted to talk to, and that's HPR Ammunition, who we're going to talk about a little bit later on the show today. They're out of Payson, Arizona. They make some really phenomenal ammunition, and I actually brought their little sheet in that they gave me on their new Black Ops hollow points. And in fact, I got this awesome Black Ops t-shirt.
Look at you go.
What? On the back, it's got their cool logo, HPR Ammunition, obviously Arizona-based business, so we like that. But here, tell me if you can see that on the video there, Mason. Can you see that?
Oh, yeah.
So can you see it clearly enough-ish?
Hold it
Sure,
here.
I can move.
Go now.
Okay. So if you look, there's all these cool ballistic, gelatin demonstrations. And typically I'm not really a fan of ballistic gelatin because I'm like, who really cares about ballistic gelatin?
I was actually a little surprised to see this sitting there because it had the ballistic gelatin side up, and I was like, that's new for Glenn.
That's usually not what I care about because I'm like, hey, I don't get attacked by ballistic gelatin. But what ballistic gelatin can show to an extent is penetration and expansion of a round. And I'll tell you one thing I noticed with these rounds. These are jacketed frangible rounds. All right, that's their self-defense ammunition, their line of duty ammo. So it's jacketed frangible rounds. They have some units and agencies that are already using this stuff, and they gave me some good information. It wasn't like hearsay of like, oh yeah, this one guy this one time. They gave me some good names and some good info of what's going on, things that you could reference and look up. And basically, people who are getting shot with this stuff are not still out there walking around.
I like that.
It's doing what it's supposed to be doing. And they're not as tested, obviously, in the real world as like gold dots or, sabers or anything like that. But so far, when I saw that, and they had all these, by the way, all these things they had in person right there at the show, I was impressed. Again, usually not really, I don't really care too much about ballistic gelatin
like
tests.
About the picture too is as I look at that, nothing's over penetrating through. I'm a little bit sold.
They have these massive wound cavities.
Huge.
They have this great solid retention of the round itself, so they do get penetration,
but no over penetration.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
I was really impressed. And standing there and talking with these guys, we're gonna have them on the show in the future. I was so impressed by these guys that I was like, you guys got to come on our show.
Sure.
So that we're going to be talking with them a little bit more. We're going to be trying to use some of their ammunition here in the next little bit, testing it out on our own.
And of course,
I was really impressed.
Independence training, we're going to test the hell out of
Yeah, we're gonna find where this ammo doesn't work.
Try and break something.
And so, really good ammo. Check them out if you haven't. Their website is HPR Hotel Papa Romeo Ammo.com. All their ammunition is very cost effective. It's an Arizona-based company, so we love them just for being that. And really impressive stuff. So check it out. And proud to be repping their shirt today. Like it a lot. Want to talk about our Veterans Appreciation Day that we've got coming up on April 11th. This is with Concerned Veterans for America and Independence Training and Cowtown Range. It's going to be a really great event. It's at no cost to OIF, OEF veterans.
Totally free,
right? So bring your own firearms if you want to use them. If you don't have your own firearm, we'll provide firearms. We'll provide ammunition. There's a catered lunch. There's going to be some prizes. There's going to be some giveaways. We've got some great sponsors on board already, giving us some really cool stuff for this event. We are limited to 45 people, and we're already about halfway full. So it's, we're definitely filling up. And let me pull up that info sheet real quick so I can give you all the information. But basically, it's April 11th at Cowtown Range in Peoria, Arizona. And if you want to get more information, go check out the Arms Room or Independence Training Facebook pages. We recently posted it up on there. You can always contact us for more information, info@independencetraining.com. And if you want to, you're like, hey, I want to sign up right now for sure, then you want to contact Matt Dobson, who's a local director for CVA, and you've heard him on the show before because he's also an instructor for Independence Training. But you can contact him. His number is 480-341-1924. You can email him mdobson@cv4a.org. That's Charlie Victor, the number 4, alpha.org. And so contact him, email or phone call. The only thing we're asking is anyone who signs up, you must show up. If you don't, if you sign up and you don't show up,
please don't steal somebody else's seat.
Yeah, you're going to Blue Falcon somebody, and that's not cool.
But it's just the first half.
That's right.
We all know it.
So don't do that, all right? Because this is going to be a really, really cool event. We've got some cool things going out. We're working right now on getting some belt feds out there for one of the events. All right. So there's going to be some really cool stuff. This is a thing you want to show up to. You're going to meet the guys from CVA. You're going to meet the guys from Independence Training, which of course is us also. All right. Because we are the guys for Independence Training. So, if you like our show, you get to meet us as the hosts. This isn't just limited to Arizona people. If you want to make the drive and come over and spend a day shooting and hanging out with us, contact Matt, register for the event.
And get to know about CVA. They're doing a lot of good things. They're doing a lot of mediation between the VA and the veterans, and they're helping things move along. So
yes, they're a great organization, really, really great organization. So keep that in mind. Want to mention today, of course, our show brought to you today by Ar500 Armor. And if you don't know about these guys, crawl out from underneath your rock, go check out their Facebook page. All right, they just broke 700,000 followers.
Oh my god,
and they're already like at 715 or something like that. 710,000, I think. I just checked the other day. This weekend, they released part 5 of our 5-part video that Independence Training we did with them. You'll see me, you'll see John, you'll see
Matt was on
Matt Dobson, you'll see a couple other people on there. Really, really great video series that we did, starting from the beginning of how to, part 1 and 2 is like how do you fit armor properly, how do you set it up, how do you make sure you have access to your first line gear. Then we went out and did some live fire stuff, getting into different positions, and this final one was moving and shooting and getting in out of positions, transitioning to a secondary weapon system, all kinds of stuff like that, just to get people kind of out of the box. A lot of guys who haven't worn armor before, and they could be military guys. Not every military guy wore a lot of armor.
Sure.
Not every cop wears a lot of armor. Not everyone's familiar with a lot of different stuff. Certainly, civilians, they just kind of know a lot of the times maybe what they've seen in a class or what they've read on the internet.
Here's the deal about the guys at Ar500 too. If you're going with the Ar500 steel, the price is right. If you're considering armor, if you think maybe someday I might want to have that under my bed for the bump in the night, for the zombie apocalypse, I don't know what your wet dream is, whatever it is you're thinking about, it's not expensive.
No, it's not.
You can get, depending on how hardcore you want to go, you can start around $150 all the way up to, whatever you want to do.
For $100, you can get a front plate with really, really basic carrier, but you can get a front plate with a basic carrier.
Yeah.
Nothing special.
No.
If you just wanted, hey, I just want some protection for home defense or whatever, I want to, face threats that are coming straight out at me, great. People have seen our Banshee carriers, our mini carriers, all that kind of stuff that we brought on the show before. We got to bring that back in. I apologize. I left it in my truck today. But there's all kinds of cool stuff that they have that you can get at almost, nothing compared to what you might pay for, other ceramic plates or something like that. And they have ceramic plates. And soft armor. So if you want ceramic, if you want soft, whatever, they've got it all. Check them out, ar500armor.com. And by the way, if you're an Independence Training student, right, if you're one of our students, you do get a discount over there. Contact us for that discount code. We'll take care of you. All right. So let's get on to the show today. We're going to be talking about buying locally, specifically from firearms-related industries. Now, there are so many different firearms industry niches out there, from manufacturers of firearms to parts and pieces, various parts and pieces. Sometimes you find guys who specialize in 1911s or specialize in Glocks or they specialize in Saiga shotguns or whatever. Everyone's kind of got their specialty. You also find a lot of people who are builders and not necessarily manufacturers, especially in the AR world, right? There's people who are just taking other people's parts and putting them together. And, sometimes they're putting them together in a
I always appreciate
quote unquote special way.
Yeah, I always appreciate guys that know who they are.
Yes.
I build ARs.
Yes.
Okay, good deal.
That is a good thing to know. So
I'd also like to, before we get into this, because
Yeah.
we're talking about firearms industry specifically,
Yeah.
I know you and I have talked about this on the show before. It's important. Don't shrug your shoulders at somebody else's niche or somebody else. We all have to be on the same page if we're going to protect our rights in firearms. If you're just a hunter and you're not a sports shooter, you know, someday you might be in a situation where you do need a semi-automatic because you're not able to function a bolt or a pump or anything like that anymore. So don't sit there and criticize somebody else for what they're doing. Get on board with it. If you're a gun person, you're a gun person. And don't look at a magazine capacity law as something that's not going to affect you, because I promise you, every small victory adds up.
Absolutely. That's absolutely correct. So let's talk about why buying local. With all these different parts manufacturers and everything, if you live in a free state like Arizona, where, you know, we have so many different industries, Texas, Wyoming, I mean, there's a lot of great Western states, and I'm sure Eastern states and Midwestern states that have tons and tons of firearms related industries. Why should you buy local and not just go online? And more importantly, let's say that there's a local manufacturer, but you can get the part cheaper online from somebody else. So let's talk about that. Because I am such a huge fan of buying local, and I want to start it off with a quick story. I just bought a new pair of boots, all right, and I go through a pair of hiking boots. I don't care what brand they are, about every year and a half, because I hike so much and I spend so much time in them. I typically blow through them in about a year and a half, whether it's tread or something else. You know, some part of the boot wears out.
Sure.
So I pretty much buy all my boots from a local company in Prescott, Arizona called Manzanita Outfitters.
I'm familiar.
I really love their shop, and I really love going in there to buy boots, and here's why. I just went in to buy a new pair of boots, and this is the same experience I've had for all the years I bought from them. I go in, I tell them, hey, I'm looking for a new pair of boots. So they sit me down and they size me. They really honestly size me. They pull out the sizer, they check and they see how wide is your foot, how long is your foot, and then they check both feet, because what most people don't know is one foot is typically bigger than the other foot.
Sure.
And so they size both feet. And then based on that information, because they're so knowledgeable about their products, that they can start picking out boots for you. And so then they bring me like 3 or 4 different ones, and they're like, here's all these different brands. Maybe you haven't heard this, maybe you haven't heard that. And I try on all these different boots. Oboes. I
have a pair of oboes right now, and I bought them from Manzanitas, and this was before we even met. They're about a year and a half old, and the tread is worn out. I'm talking gone, and I still wear those. Those are my work shoes now. That's what I wear for work shoes. And people are like, man, you need some new shoes. I'm like, they're so comfy.
I think they're the Sawtooth maybe or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't remember exactly, but anyways, you know, I try them all, and then they're like, well, okay, how does this fit? Let's go half size bigger, half size smaller, to make sure you're totally comfortable. And then they go, okay, now that you found the one that you like, walk around the store for 15, 20 minutes, lace them up tight, do this, do that. They showed me a really cool trick I'd never seen with lacing before. So, you know, they showed me, they show you all this cool stuff. They really work with you. Then you come back, you deal with the boots. And then, of course, you can do one of two things. You can be that guy who says, oh, thanks for all your help. I'll think about it. And then you
buy online.
And go buy them online and save $30 or $40 maybe.
Douchebag.
Yeah, I mean, that's not cool, man. You know, and a lot of people do that. And you know what? If you do that, so be it. But look, you're screwing your local businesses. We're going to talk about the benefit of that here in a minute. But service is worth something to me.
Well, let's just talk about the unemployment rate in this country right now. How about that? You know, let's support these people going out there and having a job, maintaining a job. Let's make sure that that business has enough money to pay its employees. You know, let's take care of our local financial situation.
Well, and that's part of the thing is, you know, we want to keep our jobs local, and because local jobs mean a lot to the economy. It's not just employing a person. That person requires a support network. They require more store clerks. They require real estate agents. They require housing. They require food. They require fuel. They require everything that your economy has to support. So if you have a business that employs 20, 30, 40 people, 100 people, 500 people, whatever, and you can help keep them in business, that's that much more benefit you're adding to your community. You're keeping your jobs local, you know, and as you said, with a high unemployment rate, that makes a difference. I mean, literally just by shopping locally, you can help keep jobs.
Sure. Well, just as a veteran, as somebody who doesn't necessarily do well with the general public, I can't stand box stores in the first place. And so I'm a big advocate of small business, just because I can walk in there and not leave wanting to put fist to throat.
Well, because someone who works for a local small business is typically going to be a little bit more customer driven
and knowledgeable.
And not, I'm not saying anything. If you work for a big box store, I'm not saying you're not knowledgeable. I'm not saying you don't care about your customers. That's not what I'm necessarily implying. What I'm saying is that, and based on my experience, I've found that local small businesses typically, because the owner or the managers are more involved,
they're training, they're teaching, their people need to know
there's a lot
something.
more going on because they
agree.
can't get the actually by volume concept, right? They can't say, wait, we've got 20 stores, we got 50 stores, whatever.
You go to Walmart and they're saying, oh, I don't care which one you buy. If you don't like it, bring it back. No big deal.
They don't care. They don't have a vested interest in the company.
Here's the funny thing. Most of those small businesses have the same return policies. As long as you're not being can I say douchebag again?
Whatever.
As long as you're not being
whatever.
You just said it.
As long as you're not being a douchebag,
Adam takes care of that.
They're going to take care of you. You're going to come back in there. Not that you're the guy who I'm going to go to Manzanita's next week and return my Obez shoes and be like, yeah, these things wore out way too soon.
Right.
Almost 2 years old.
Right. Well, and so last thing we'll talk about before we take a quick break is keeping your money local. Keeping your money local increases, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this concept here after the break, but keeping your money local is going to increase the sales tax in your area. So when people are like, oh, these roads, or we don't have enough cops, or we don't have enough this, or whether they're complaining about how, oh, our stupid government, this sounds like, you're robbing that. You're robbing your community every single time you choose to buy outside your locality than locally.
Sure.
Hate tax or love it, I don't care. All right, I don't like tax any more than the next guy.
It's the basis of our life in this society.
Unfortunately,
right now.
we're paying taxes, and so because of that, if I can buy locally and I can keep some of that money in my community to help with roads, law enforcement, whatever, I don't care, hospitals, food banks, whatever it may be, that your tax money is going to help. I don't care what it's going to help. It's going to help my community, and if I can keep that money local instead of saying someone else's community, why wouldn't I want to do that? So we're going to talk a little bit more about why buying local, a couple more things when we come back from the break. You're listening to the Arms Room.
Everyone's going to need an attorney at some point in your life. I'm no different. Hey everyone, it's James from Vets On. Whether it was my last will and testament before deployment or my ongoing custody battle for my children during my divorce, I needed help, so I lawyered up. If you need help, I urge you to contact Capstrom Law Firm. Capstrom Law Firm in Springfield, Missouri services clients throughout the state in criminal law, personal injury, and family law. With over 13 years practicing law, Tom Capstrom understands both law and court procedures and how stressful they can be. Let Tom Capstrom Law Firm and his dedicated staff take the stress and worry out of a difficult situation by calling him today. We feel so strongly about the work that Tom and his staff are doing that he'll be a monthly guest on the show. Tom is a veteran and a listener, for God's sake, so you know the guy is solid and will fight for you. Give Tom a call today by calling 417-864-0552 or email Tom at capstromlaw.com. And don't forget to tell him that Vets On sent you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
If you or someone you know is looking for a new job or career, you need to visit the pros. National Career Fairs at ncfairs.com. National Career Fairs hosts over 300 career fairs a year nationwide. The events are free and give you the perfect chance to meet some of the top employers in your area face-to-face. To find the nearest career fair to you, visit ncfairs.com. Again, that's ncfairs.com. What are you waiting for?
Veterans served us, now it's time we serve them. As a veteran of Afghanistan and Iraq, as well as a current military member deployed abroad, I would like to take a minute of your time to tell you about Patriot Hills of New York. Patriot Hills of New York is a nonprofit organization providing support to veterans and their families. They partner veterans in need with over 65 health and wellness organizations, community groups, as well as philanthropic foundations providing no or low-cost services. They've helped over 400 veterans through confidential referral services, assistance with veterans issues, employment placement, as well as educational opportunities. If you need assistance or just want to help veterans by donating your time or services, contact them at info@patriothills.org. Again, that's info@patriothills.org. Visit patriothillsofnewyork.com for more information about their services or how you can donate. Our veterans deserve no less. We can give it to them, and you can help.
All right, you're back on the Arms Room. We're talking about why you should buy local. specifically firearms industries. And here in a minute, we're going to list, because of course we are in Arizona, we love our great state of Arizona, and we do a lot of business with Arizona companies. We're going to list all of the Arizona firearms companies that we know about. And, I apologize, we're probably going to miss a few, but hey, that's just the way it goes sometimes. This is a pretty freaking big list. And we're also going to talk about the people on this list that we specifically, not only as the Arms Room, but as Independence Training and as individuals, do business with, and why we do business with them. Because we want you to support our local businesses.
And for everybody else out there that owns a business firearms related, Arizona does have an open door policy. Come on down.
Come on in.
We'll put you on next year's show.
We love to have you. Love to have you. So what we're going to talk about going into it is, before we get to that list, is, again, why buy locally. So we talked about it brings jobs and it brings taxes, which help our economy. But also, look, you're supporting a small business. And the more small businesses that we have, the lower prices are actually going to be. The more competition you have. You know what I mean? So the lower you're going to bring prices. Now, as small business owners, we got Independence Training, small business. We got the Arms Room, part of Vets on Media, small business. We're involved with small businesses. We love
day-to-day
small businesses. You know what I mean? There's John, our normal co-host, Redwire Gear, small business. I mean, we're involved with a lot of other small businesses in the world, or in the training world, and in the firearms world. So please support your local businesses. Invest in your community. Now, if you're not in Arizona and you want to support us, we're happy to have your support. All right, because we want your money in our economy. All right, if you've got something that you can put into your local economy, please support your local economy. Yeah. It's how invest in your community. You want to feel connected. These days, community is the thing that's lacking. That's a huge part of what society's missing.
Very true statement.
This idea of community. And we don't have that community anymore. We want that community. So in order to get that community, invest in your community. Buy locally. Start supporting your small businesses. You'll see them start to get better as you do it, and you encourage other people to do it. You'll see your own small business, or you see small businesses in your own area start to develop, start to get better, start to get bigger.
Start your own small business.
Start your own small business, right? Nut up and do it. It also helps you to get to know people. It helps you to get to know people in your community, and sometimes in that industry, like, for us in the firearms world and the training world, it's important for us to get to know people in our community.
It is small community.
I like to get to know people. We get to meet other vets. We get to meet other small business guys. We get to meet, and don't get me wrong, not everyone in the firearms industry is a vet, not by a long shot. All right, but there are plenty of them. All right,
what?
Yeah, shocking.
What?
I am shocked.
Operators.
But the idea is that we get to know these people, and we get to know who's in our community. Even as a training company, we get to know other training companies. I want to know these guys. Look, if bad things happen, these are the people I want to know, or when we've got that Veterans Appreciation Day coming up, because we know all of our local companies.
We're able to get other RSOs and other people involved.
It's easy for us to bring in plenty of RSOs. It's easy for us to get lots of sponsorships. It's easy for us to bring people and get other companies involved with these kinds of events. And this is stuff we do, pretty regularly, these kinds of events. So, because we're part of this community, and whatever your business is, I don't care if you're selling bicycle parts. If you get to know all the other bicycle shops, if you get to know all the other places that sell bicycles in your local area, maybe that's your city, maybe it's your county, right? Whatever your area is. I know lots of states are different. Not everyone's like Arizona. Not everyone has counties that it takes a half a day to drive across. You know what I mean? Some places like Colorado has like 60 something counties or something. Yeah. So, and I know there's other states like
Arizona has 6.
Yeah, we don't have a lot, man. So, point is that. Whatever your local community is, get to know people there. You never know when you're going to have to rely on this other person.
Well, that's a great point. Relying on somebody else. I mean, how nice if you're a manufacturer of some point and oops, I under-ordered, how nice to be able to call the guy down the road and be on a good basis with them, not be like,
And remember what service is worth. I think to wrap up kind of why buy local, before I get into this little math thing I'm going to drop on you, but before that, when I talk about math, I know.
I didn't sign up for this.
Brian's out. I gotta go take a dump. But the idea is that service is worth something to me. It really is worth something to me.
I agree with that completely.
I want to go into Manzanita Outfitters. I know I can get these boots cheaper online. I want to go into Manzanita Outfitters. I want them to tell me their experience with the boots. I want to learn. And then that service, here's the thing. I can go in there. I could learn all that. And then I could leave and go buy online.
Here's my thing, though. It's not just about it. For me, it's mostly about the service, but it's also about instant gratification.
That's true, too.
I don't want to go home, order the boots, have them show up 2 weeks later and be like, son of a, they're not the right size, or they're whatever they messed up, or these are a knockoff. I mean, terrible thing. I've ordered from major companies and gotten boots that were supposed to be American companies, and they're made in wherever they're made. I'm not even going to get into all that, but I mean, nothing more disappointing. And then you spend that kind of money on something that starts falling apart on you. Instant gratification is a big deal for me as well.
And as you mentioned earlier, just service. If I were to go back into Manzanita Outfitters, regardless of what the return policy is, I know that they're always going to take care of me.
Sure.
I've done business with them a lot over the years. They're a local business I've supported. I know if I go in, they're going to take care of me.
Absolutely.
That's really something to think about. So let's talk about the math real quick. I'm going to read something that I got online. So this isn't me. I didn't do this calculation. All right. It says the math for buying close to home is compelling. For every $100 spent at a locally owned business, $73 remains in the local economy and 27 leaves. All right. So if you spend $100 at a locally owned business, on average, $73 stays in the local economy. Compare that to the same $100 spent at a non-locally owned business, such as a chain store or something like that, where only $43 remains in the local economy and $57 leaves. Recent research from Civic Economics, which is civiceconomics.com, indicates that local eateries return nearly 79% of revenues to the community, compared to just over 30% for chain restaurants. Wow. So you go eat a local bakery, or you go to a local coffee shop instead of Starbucks. You go to a local coffee shop, 79% of the revenues are coming back. You go to Starbucks, only 30% is coming back. When profits stay local, it increases the community's wealth, tax revenue, and standard of living. Says Sue Lynn Sasser, who's got a PhD and a professor of economics at the University of Central Oklahoma. Then she goes on, small businesses and local businesses are still the backbone of our economy. They are local people serving local people and are generally committed to staying there, raising their families. After all, most businesses start out as a small local business and earned the success of growing and expanding. It's the American dream. Now, all chain businesses and stuff like that, they all started out pretty much as small businesses too.
But let's also talk about this. Your Manzanita's example.
Yeah.
All right, if I go to Manzanita's, because I've been there, they sell bikes and kayaks and all kinds of outdoors camping adventures.
Like a small REI.
It's exactly what I was going to say. It's like a miniature REI. They know the local terrain. They know the local. So they're going to take care of me as far as, hey, do I really need to jump up to this $100 more expensive, whatever it is? They'll be like, no, it's not really necessary here. You're not going to encounter that kind of stuff unless you're planning on traveling. That's the kind of information that's vital to, I'm a bang for the buck kind of guy. I don't have wallet loads. So when I go and buy something, it's not necessarily the best one, but it's the best one for my needs.
Well, and I like, the way that Dr. whatever her name was, finished off was, I forgot her name, Sasser, something like that. Really smart lady, okay? I like the way she finished off where, these people are invested in your communities. They're raising their families here.
True story.
This isn't just a company that's, like we see training companies who bring in instructors from other states, or people go to other states to do their training. And it's like, look, especially if you're in a state like Arizona, you can get the training you're looking for here in Arizona. It's pretty uncommon that you're not going to be able to find whatever you're looking for here in Arizona. Our instructors, whether it's with Independence Training or somebody else, our instructors are raising their families here. They're raising their businesses here. They live here. Whatever money you give them is going back into the economy. It's important to support your local businesses. So with that said, we're going to talk about our list. Now, we've got a list. I don't know how many people are on here. I didn't count.
Stop scrolling. I can't keep up.
I know. There's a lot of people.
This could take a while.
Well, here's what we're going to do. I broke them down into 4 categories in the state of Arizona. We've got firearm manufacturers, so those people who actually manufacture firearms. Now, I did not put builders on here. If they're just building stuff from other people's components, I didn't put them on there. So like all the little gunsmith shops and all that, none of those guys made the cut.
There's so many of them here. Unfortunately,
there's way too many.
A dime a dozen.
There's way too many. So I stuck with firearm manufacturers, people who are actually building some parts, at least on the firearms they're putting out. Firearm parts manufacturers. So those people who are putting parts together. Now, some of the manufacturers are also parts manufacturers, but they made the manufacturer list because they actually build complete firearms. So keep in mind, you may be able to get complete firearms or parts from them. I also went into accessories, holsters, targets, things like that that are made in Arizona. Not just the people who sell accessories, but the people that are made here in Arizona. And also gear. Same thing. Not all the gear retailers out there. These are just people who are making their gear. It would be insane. I had... so let's talk about how I got this list. I compiled a list of as many people that I knew. Then I sent it out to my instructors, and I said, fill in the gaps.
It was already a page long at that point.
It was already pretty long. And then I put it on one of the local gun forums that I participate in, and I'm like, okay, the rest of you guys fill in the gaps. And that was really helpful because there was a lot of companies I just never even heard of.
Sure.
They got added to this list. So not all these companies have I done business with. All right. Okay. We're going to start talking about the ones that we do business with. And then the rest of them are just Arizona-based companies. So that's kind of how I got the whole list together, you know. So if you are like, hey, I live in wherever and I'm not sure who's local to me, go on a local gun forum.
Yeah.
And start asking questions. Hey, I'm looking for a holster manufacturer who's local. You know, I'm looking for this, who's local, etc. Right? You'll be able to find it.
Yeah, there's tons of them out there. One of my famous catchphrases, and I tell my wife and other people this all the time, is Google is your friend.
That's right. So we're going to start with firearms manufacturers. We're probably going to get through this list and then probably have to take a break. There are 4 firearm manufacturers that we deal with in the state of Arizona. All right, specifically. All right, that Independence Training and the Arms Room specifically deals with. First off, and top of our list is Psionics Weapon Systems.
Absolutely.
Out of Tucson, Arizona. Psionics builds, no joke, some of the best AR-15s. Our very good friend and best price too.
Oh my gosh!
I think their patrol rifle 0 is probably. If I had a box of all the AR parts, I would build a patrol rifle 0.
I agree.
When they first sent me the specs, I was like, oh, I love that rifle because they're.
And then they sent me the price, and I was like,
even better.
I really love that.
So
it's phenomenal.
our good friend Will Larson, who will be on our show in June, who's an armor. He's from Semper Paratus Arms. He teaches armor classes. The guy's been around the M4 and M16 pattern literally almost as long as I've been alive. I mean, the guy literally has forgotten more than I'll ever know about the platform. He's a fantastic armor. He built my primary carbine. It is basically almost like the Patrol Rifle 0.
It's almost identical.
Only he built it for me several years before the Patrol Rifle 0 came out because he had a huge hand in designing all the stuff for Psionics. So we are huge believers of Psionics. We've got some Psionics carbines.
We've tested the hell out of those
We
things.
purposely try to break these things like we do with so many other things. We give them to our students. We don't clean them. We don't lube them. We let them get full of dirt. We let them get beat up. We let them go thousands of rounds without cleaning, and they still work.
Not an Arizona company, but if you want to see how Independence Training tests something, check out the recent review of the Hex Mag that we did. I mean, we destroyed that thing. Still work.
So, consider that. Psionics Weapon Systems for your AR-15s out of Tucson. Absolutely love them. LRK Mechanical. LRK Mechanical out of Prescott, Arizona. They build all of our precision rifles, which if you've ever been to one of our precision classes or similar programs, you've seen the absolute pure sexiness
beautiful
of the LRK Mechanical rifles. LRK Mechanical has been on our show in the past. They've talked about how they build these rifles. These guys, and I love them, so I know they'll be okay with me saying this, they are nerds. They are total
nerds.
Gun nerds. When it comes to, I was just in their shop last week, dropped some, they were fixing something for me. Actually, I was in their shop. They were fixing something for me, and we always get into these gun conversations, and it doesn't take long for them to get over my head.
They lose me fast.
Yeah,
they lose me so fast.
It's amazing.
What you want to do is, I'm like, do it.
Yeah, go for it, man.
You do it.
But they don't just do precision rifles. They also build custom ARs. They do Cerakoting.
AKs.
They took my AK. I bought a Zastava NPAP, the M70 or whatever it is, full-size AK, and just took it to them and said, make this thing a glorious piece of equipment.
And you've let me run that gun.
My goodness.
Oh, my gosh. For an AK, it's by far the smoothest AK I've ever fired.
It's absolutely a beautiful AK. And so they do that kind of work as well as building custom stuff. So check into them for that. Ruger. And I know some people just went, all right, but listen, Ruger is much better than they used to be, especially when it comes to the world of battle rifles and handguns and stuff like that. A lot of people are shocked to find that as the head instructor of small arms instruction,
I was shocked.
I carry a Ruger SR9, and people are like, "Oh, Ruger SR9, what the crap is that?" I have at this point about 30,000 rounds through my Ruger SR9 in some really nasty conditions. It has never failed me, knock on wood.
And a new barrel, because
I shot the barrel out around 25,000. And that is, I have fired plus P, I have fired reloads, I have fired steel, I have fired lead, I have fired just about everything through this gun.
And for anybody talking trash, how many of you have put 25,000 rounds through anything?
And at this point, this pistol has been my primary carry pistol every single day, my primary instruction pistol, my primary backup for hunting, everything like that for about 5-6 years, actually 6 years.
I bought my wife one. She shot yours and absolutely loved it. So that's her primary carry.
I can't tell you how many of our students, how many of our family members have bought SR9s based on the performance of the gun in our classes. A couple of our rental handguns will loan out SR9 so people can shoot them. It is a really, really solid gun. They've got some other guns. Hey, they have some lemons like everybody else does. But I tell you what, check out Ruger. Their ARs are great. They're based out of Prescott, Arizona.
For
Love an
pistol
Arizona
drive
company.
AR, they're
They have a DI gun as well.
I understand.
You know, they make a fantastic piston-driven AR, really, really good, and AR-10 too. They make those. And then last on our list of people we definitely do business with is Modern Arms. Modern Arms is based in Phoenix, and they are one of the companies that provides us with fully automatic, belt feds and cool stuff like that for a lot of the experience shoots we do over at Cowtown.
Sure.
They're the ones we're working with right now to try to get a belt fed out to the Veterans Day event. Or Veterans Appreciation Day, excuse me.
Probably won't be an issue if you're looking forward to that.
Probably won't be an issue. So another thing about Modern Arms, however, is that they don't just have these guns they rent out. That's not what they started doing. They started by building. They're an 07 manufacturer. So they started out by building and modifying people's firearms to work better. And they actually have a really, really cool system that unfortunately came out right around the time of the crazy smart gun. And so it kind of got blacklisted, but they have this really cool system, and I can't remember what it is, but if you Google them, you'll find out. And if you go to their YouTube videos or YouTube channel, you'll find this video where basically you can integrate everything into from your smart house into the grip of your AR or PS90 or anything like that. And the cool thing is that, so like, for example, you can put a button on your grip that would turn all your lights on or turn all your lights off. You can put a button somewhere on your gun that would sound an audible alarm in your home. So imagine there's an intruder in your home. You grab your AR, you turn all the lights on and hit a freaking alarm. You know what I mean? Whoever's in your house, if they're not going to leave at that point, they know that there's some hate and discontent coming their way. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of cool things that you could tie in. Unfortunately, it came out right about the time that whole smart gun thing came out. People were freaking out and so they've kind of sidelined that technology right now. But as far as I know, it is still available, and it is a really cool technology.
That's pretty cool.
So they do some really cool stuff. Check out Modern Arms. All right, before we go on break. And my board guy I know is wanting to go. Mason's like, freaking go on break. All right.
You got 1 minute, 2 minutes ago.
I'm the boss, applesauce. Do what I want. I'm just kidding. All right. Don't hit now. He's going to mute my mic. We're going on break right now. So I'm just going to list off. And some of these companies we've done business with. And some of them we haven't. But I'm just going to list off everyone else that's available. So again, these aren't people that we wouldn't do business with or we haven't done business with. These are just kind of everyone else that's not really top of our list. Quinton Defense. Patriot Ordnance Factory, which, by the way, I love their triggers. Every single one of my personal ARs has a POF trigger in it. I absolutely love POF triggers. Macmillan, Voltor, Dillon Arrow, of course, maker of the M134 minigun. American Spirit Arms, Edward Arms, who also makes a fantastic piston-driven AR. KE Arms, who makes AR-15s, AR-10s. Quarter Circle 10, mostly pistol caliber ARs. Young Manufacturing. Sun Devil Manufacturing, who makes the majority of the lowers, honestly, for companies who are building ARs in Arizona.
Really?
Santan Tactical, who's become pretty popular these days. They make a really cool, fully ambidextrous lower. Hogan Guns. Arizona Armory, who does a lot of work in NFA and also the Saiga 12. And have to mention, too, Arizona Armory is a big vendor out at Cowtown Range. And I have to say, some of the best guys there is to work with. They're always safe. They always clean up. They always do a fantastic job.
They clean up?
Nobody ever has anything bad to say about Arizona Armory. Really great guys over there. And of course, Surgeon Rifles, who along with Macmillan that we mentioned earlier, makes some very fine long-range precision rifles. Of course, Macmillan makes the TAC 50, which is probably one of the most accurate 50 caliber guns out on the market today. You know, a lot of people go, oh, it's good, the Barrett. Like, look, guys, the Barrett's not really that accurate. But Macmillan's TAC 50 is a serious piece of equipment. And, of course, again, Surgeon Rifles. So those are all the the firearms manufacturers in the state of Arizona. We're going to take this whole list because when we come back from the break, we're going to talk about firearm parts manufacturers, accessories, and gear. And I'm taking this whole list, and it will post up to our Facebook page, I believe, tomorrow. So this list will be available for you to view. If you're in Arizona and you're like, man, I wish I had that list, it's going to be up on our social media. If you want me to email you this list, please send us over an email, info@independencetraining.com, and I will happily send you this list. All right, we're going to take our last break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about firearms parts manufacturers, accessories, and gear here locally available in the state of Arizona, and also the ones that we recommend. You're listening to The Arms Room.
Veterans served us, now it's time we serve them. As a veteran of Afghanistan and Iraq, as well as a current military member deployed abroad, I would like to take a minute of your time to tell you about Patriot Hills of New York. Patriot Hills of New York is a nonprofit organization providing support to veterans and their families. They partner veterans in need with over 65 health and wellness organizations, community groups, as well as philanthropic foundations providing no or low-cost services. They've helped over 400 veterans through confidential referral services, assistance with veterans issues, employment placement, as well as educational opportunities. If you need assistance or just want to help veterans by donating your time or services, contact them at info@patriothills.org. Again, that's info@patriothills.org. Visit patriothillsofnewyork.com for more information about their services or how you can donate. Our veterans deserve no less. We can give it to them, and you can help. Everyone's going to need an attorney at some point in their life. I'm no different. Hey everyone, it's James from Vets On. Whether it was my last will and testament before deployment or my ongoing custody battle for my children during my divorce, I needed help, so I lawyered up. If you need help, I urge you to contact Capstrom Law Firm. Capstrom Law Firm in Springfield, Missouri services clients throughout the state in criminal law, personal injury, and family law. With over 13 years practicing law, Tom Capstrom understands both law and court procedures and how stressful they can be. Let Tom Capstrom Law Firm and his dedicated staff take the stress and worry out of a difficult situation by calling him today. We feel so strong about the work that Tom and his staff are doing that he'll be a monthly guest on the show. Tom is a veteran and a listener, for God's sake, so you know the guy is solid and will fight for you. Give Tom a call today by calling 417-864-0552 or email Tom at capstromlaw.com. And don't forget to tell him that Vets On sent you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
If you or someone you know is looking for a new job or career, you need to visit the pros. National Career Fairs at ncfairs.com. National Career Fairs hosts over 300 career fairs a year nationwide. The events are free and give you the perfect chance to meet some of the top employers in your area face-to-face. To find the nearest career fair to you, visit ncfairs.com. Again, that's ncfairs.com. What are you waiting for?
All right, you're back on the Arms Room. We are talking about why you should shop local, why you should do business with local companies. We've already gone over that list of reasons why we should do it. So if you're, for whatever reason, just joining us, you can go back, go check us out, on one of the podcasts or iTunes or YouTube and rewind and get that list, because we are huge fans of shopping local, big fans. We've been through the firearm manufacturers in Arizona. Now we're going to talk about the firearm parts manufacturers. And we're going to start with the 4 that we do business with the most, and or that we've done a lot of good business with, I should say. And then we'll read off the rest of the list. So Battle Comp. Battle Comp is probably the best muzzle device you can put on the end of your gun, as long as your neighbor doesn't mind a little bit of kaboom, which is not bad. It's not a normal compensator. It's the best mix of a compensator flash hider that I've ever seen on the market, hands down. And guys, I've tried them all. It's not the best flash hider. It's not the best compensator. It is the best of both of them.
It's a fantastic piece of equipment.
Really awesome. And they're just released their new 51 tooth model of the Battle Comp so that you can put on your your AAC suppressor. So very cool. Independence training students, by the way, get a 15% discount over at Battle Comp. Vane Comp out of Chino Valley, Arizona. Battle Comp out of Prescott, Arizona. Vane Comp out of Chino Valley, Arizona. Vane Comp, if you have a shotgun and it needs to be pimped, Vane Comp is a place to go. Maker of probably the world's best tactical shotguns.
Best tactical shotguns. Their guys are awesome.
Literally, people send in their shotguns from all over the world.
Yep.
Militaries, law enforcement. Vane Comp does the best job on shotguns, period. They also do some other work. I've had them do some work on lever guns for me and a revolver for me. So they do other good stuff as well. Battle tested equipment out of Phoenix. Battle tested equipment makes some really cool parts and pieces for ARs. They do a great job. They got some great gas blocks. I use their charging handles on my my primary carbines. Absolutely love their charging handles. They're super aggressive. So
yeah, actually just got their ambi charging handle for my.
It's a great piece of equipment. It's awesome. And then Glock Meister. I like Glock Meister because it's kind of like Vane Comp with shotguns. If you got a Glock that needs to be pimped, you need to take it over to Glock Meister, and they're going to tell you real world experience. Hey, this is what you want. Are you competition? Are you combative? Are you self defense? Is it a home defense gun? They know pretty much everything, literally everything there is to know about Glocks.
Right back to a great thing about local companies. They're going to take care of you and your needs.
Mm-hmm. Great company over at Glock Meister. So everyone else on firearm parts manufacturers, ProMag and Archangel Stocks. Not a lot of people know, but they recently moved to Phoenix, Arizona. Great company to do business with. Smith Enterprise, which Vortex flash hiders on ARs, use a lot of that. Tango Down, who
I did not know they were based in Arizona.
Yep, Tango Down's out of Tucson.
Love their mags.
Timney Triggers. Cavalry Manufacturing, which a lot of people know is the first really all polymer AR-15 lower. Cavalry Manufacturing, still making them right here in Arizona. GG&G, also out of Tucson. Rogers Precision, who Chuck Rogers, who owns Rogers Precision, good friend of mine for many, many years. Literally the best 1911 I've ever handled in my life.
Really?
If you think one of those, what's that gay?
Nighthawk Custom?
Yeah, I didn't want to say the name. It's so gay, but
My bad.
that's okay. You can just say whatever you want, Mason.
How did he get a microphone?
I don't know. Why's your microphone on? All right.
Don't put my name out there.
So Rogers Precision, hands down the best. Not the cheapest. I didn't say that, but definitely the best 1911s on the market.
You know what though? If you're a 1911 guy and a 1911 is what you gotta have,
Dude, Rogers Precision is the guy.
You have to spend the money on the gun. I'm sorry, I don't want to badmouth anybody's out there shooting 1911s, but you know our experience as instructors is
You have to put good money into the
you're
gun.
gonna have to spend the money on a 1911 if you want that thing. If you want to put your life in the hands of a 1911, you gotta spend the money.
Rogers does such a good job that right now he's not even taking orders. He's like that doctor, like, hey, he's the best doctor. You can't even get in to see him. Like, that's Rogers, right? If you want a good 1911, get ready to wait.
Put it on the email list.
Heirloom Precision, also great 1911 gunsmith and primarily a high power gunsmith. Does a lot. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say primarily a high power, mostly 1911, but also does a really, really good job with the Browning high power. So if you're a high power fan, good guy to go see. AWC Silencers here in Arizona. Velocity Triggers. Robar, who of course is phenomenal, not only manufacturer of firearms parts, but also the Robar coatings, things like that. So Robar's here in Arizona. AGP Arms, who's very well known for all their 1022 accessories. Gibbs Arms, which makes one of the best side charging AR uppers I've ever seen. If you want a side charging AR upper, yeah, very cool piece of equipment. Tapcon Triggers is here in Arizona. Familiar or very famous for their 3MR, their third mode trigger that allows you to, it's not bump firing, but it's basically whatever they call it.
It's bump fire.
Positive reset or whatever. It's a bump fire trigger. All right. They're here in Arizona. Elfman Tactical. They make triggers as well for AR platforms. Pretty good triggers. I like them. And Shadow Valley Weapons, which makes the SV Comp. And if you haven't seen the SV Comp, it's scary as hell. All right. It has
not want to be struck.
Oh, dude, it's got like wire cutter, face puncher. It's got a carbide tip on it. Plus, of course, it's a comp. It is a seriously mean piece of equipment. You know, if I was part of an entry team, if I was kicking indoors somewhere, I would definitely want to get an SV comp on there, especially as like someone who might have to be doing vehicle entries. If I was patrol cop or something like that.
Any type of CQB, that is the way to go.
It is a gnarly looking piece of equipment. So now we're going to move over to accessories, firearm accessories. So again, these are things that are manufactured in the state of Arizona. Sometimes they use maybe parts and pieces from outside Arizona, but these are things that are manufactured here. So we're not talking about people who sell stuff. We're talking about people who make stuff, all right? We're going to start with the guys we do business with the most. TCB Firearms and Holsters, of course.
I think
Jason from TCB has been on the show before. He's one of our great listeners. He leaves a lot of comments for us. He does Tough Mudders with us and Spartans and all that kind of stuff. Jason's a good friend. Also builds the best holsters. I know, Brian and I are both wearing all TCB gear right now.
All TCB.
Holsters, mag holders. We love TCB holsters. Great guy to do business with. Can make you just about anything you want out of Kydex. HPR Ammunition. We just really learned a lot about them this weekend. Highly impressed. We're going to be doing a lot of work with them in the future. And, we already talked about them earlier today and the capability of their black ammunition, their new Black Ops line of ammunition. Very cool stuff.
Frangible.
Out of Payson. Yeah. Jacketed frangible, some pretty gnarly stuff. Precision 3D Targets out of Flagstaff.
Who we obviously do a lot of business with.
We do tons of business with them.
They have their own independence model.
Yes. P3DT or Precision 3D Targets has an independence training model of target that we help them kind of design because it is the steel target that we use in classes.
Yep.
We're going to be using them. We've used them in classes for a long time. Next week on the 7th, we're going to be doing a fun little thing with a big firearms manufacturer. And all P3DT targets are going to be premiered in their videos. So very cool stuff.
Very cool.
We've done a lot of work with them. If you watch most of our YouTube channels or the Ar500 Armor videos, you'll see a lot of P3DD targets at work. So, and also you do get, I believe, a 15% discount over at Precision 3D Targets if you're an Independence training student. So check that out. They also make our cool cardboard 3D targets that we use for our low light, no light stuff. So a lot of cool stuff over there.
The 3D ones.
Mm-hmm. Those things are awesome.
They are awesome.
And they make those. Laser Light. Laser Light is a company that, we really like their training products. I haven't used a lot of their weapon mounted lasers before.
I love the pop cans. The
pop cans and the targets
So
with,
great.
Laser inserts for your pistols and everything.
Great way to get some trigger workout.
Great way to practice tactics. Great way to get a trigger workout. Great products based out of Clarkdale, Arizona.
Yeah, I actually used their weapon mounted green laser that they make, and it was really good. Plus, for the price, you can't beat it. It's not like paying $1,000 for a PEC 15. You know, if all you really want is
a green
visible laser.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Laser Light makes some great products. Galco, for leather work, I don't think they can be beat. In my opinion, in my experience, I've used Galco. I've used some of their plastic holsters. I like them. Really love their leather stuff, and they're here in Arizona as well.
I did not know Galco was here in Arizona.
Absolutely. It's a great company. And Dillon Precision is the last on our list of accessory companies that we absolutely use. Of course, if you're gonna buy a reloader, it should be a Dillon.
Right.
Are there other companies? I don't recognize them. Right? Dillon Precision is the company, and we're gonna have a guy from Dillon on here in a few weeks, if I remember correctly, or maybe it's in May. I think it's in May, actually. We're going to have him in here talking about how to get started in reloading and what you really need to buy and what you really need to actually
That'll be
get.
a good topic.
It will be.
I mean, if you're interested in getting reloaded, it can be intimidating.
It can be overwhelming.
It can be, overwhelming is a great word for it.
So other accessory companies out there in Arizona, the Target Man, Simply Rugged Holsters, who also make some amazing leather work, Shooter's Element, more targets, M Pro 7. A lot of people know the M Pro 7, the firearms lubricant and cleaner, is here in Arizona. Blue Rhino targets. Blue Rhino targets is really interesting. You got to go check them out because they have this thing called the Hitman.
Right.
It is a full-sized AR500 steel target with arms, legs, reactive chest, torso, pelvis, head. It's a full body target. Not the kind of thing you're going to pick up and move around a lot, but if you have a range and you just want to target that way, everywhere you hit on this thing is available, made out of AR500. So really cool. Interesting concept. Zimco Manufacturing, who makes a whole line of kind of reactive targets, and Recoil Magazine. Now, Recoil Magazine doesn't make any accessories,
but they're cool.
But they're freaking Recoil Magazine.
Cool,
I could not put them on the list somewhere.
So my first experience with Recoil Magazine, I was at the grocery store and my wife's shopping and I'm watching the kids so that she can have a moment of peace. For all you who have kids, you understand what I'm talking about. So I'm like, let's go check out the magazines. And I saw Recoil Magazine. I picked it up and I was like, this is cool. So I bought it. Turned out it was the first release, the very first magazine, and I have been in love with Recoil Magazine. It's it's a magazine for guys like us. Yeah, it really is. For people who live
I get every issue.
It's a fantastic magazine.
Plus, the guy that the creator of it's a really cool guy. We've actually met him a couple times at some events. He's a really good guy. Yeah,
and of course, Ian Harrison's very involved with them as their editor. Ian Harrison, the winner of the first season of Top Shot, great guy, former British soldier. Ian's a fun guy to be around. Recoil Magazine, check them out. Also based in Arizona. Gear. All right, we're going to move on to our gear list. We're running out of time, so we're going a little faster. But I
do what I want.
I do what I want. Right. So, gear list. Ar500 Armor. They got to make the top of the list. Not only are they one of our show sponsors, but they also make some phenomenal equipment. And I think it's an interesting thing to put here that all the companies that we're involved with, because we're involved with companies who aren't based in Arizona. We're not going to talk about them today, but we're involved with a lot of different companies, and it's important to note that all the companies that we're involved with from the training side of things, or even from the arms room, we use their products before we got involved with them.
We use their products. We abuse
their products. We made sure that their stuff was going to work in the real world for us and anybody else.
If I can't put my life in its hands, I'm not going to promote it, period.
There's a lot of products that we've used in the past and we've been approached by the companies and we won't get involved with them.
Yep.
We're not freaking NASCAR. I don't care about putting someone else's name on my shirt or car or whatever.
New uniforms.
Yeah. I don't really care about that. What I care about is promoting products that really work and are cost effective for people. Because,
Absolutely.
you know, we're talking to people, whether it's on the show or in training, it's important that we're providing the best information and not just like, oh, by the way, this company approached us and so now they're the best. Like, no, that's not the way we do
That's not
things.
the way it is.
That's not the
And
way
let's
we do
be honest, the majority of our customers and listeners are blue collar guys.
Yeah. For the most part, everyone's on a budget of some kind. So Ar500 Armor, they do manufacture most of their own stuff.
And have a showroom. If you're here in Arizona in the Phoenix area, they have a showroom. It's actually a really cool little showroom.
You can go in, you can try on armor. They'll show you the different types of armor. They'll show you all about
They'll
the
walk you
gear.
through it. Yep.
They've got tons of great capabilities down there. So, you know, they manufacture their own soft, their own steel, everything. They do tons of work. Most of their carriers they manufacture, the mini carrier, several of their budget carriers they manufacture, their concealable carrier, the trauma pads. They manufacture a lot of their own stuff. So, you know you're getting a good product and an Arizona made product. And of course, as an independence training student, you do get a discount over Ar500 Armor. Redwire Gear. Redwire Gear owned by our normal co-host, John. And Redwire Gear makes medkit pouches, I should say. They make slings, probably their number one selling product.
Best sling that I've ever used.
Hands down.
I would agree with that. Hands down. Best sling.
When John told me I'm going to make a sling, I was like, have fun in a flooded market. And so then he started, showing us these slings like, oh, what do you think about this? And we all kind of started putting our input in. And next thing you know, he's produced this sling that now we all use it.
Everybody on the team uses
so many of our students use it. So many people love this.
People try it at every class and they end up buying it. I mean, it literally is hands down the best sling I've ever touched.
At some of the dealers that he sells the sling at here in Arizona, he can barely keep them in stock.
Yep.
They're amazing slings. His hands down is number one thing. He also makes squeeze bags for precision rifles or that kind of shooting. So check out Redwire Gear. Again, independence training students get a discount. Wilderness Tactical, maker of the best original instructor belt that there is, period. We had them on the show a few weeks ago. They told us in depth about how that whole thing came about. We talked a lot about their products. Wilderness Tactical, great company to do business with.
Really cool people.
And I had to put independence training on the list of gear because a lot of people don't know, and it's mostly because we sell them through dealers, but you can buy them either through our dealers or directly through us. A lot of people don't know we have our own line of medical kits.
Absolutely.
And our kits were built for our classes, not for consumption by the general public, but we had such a request by the general public, we went ahead and released them to the general public. There's nothing necessarily special about our kits other than the fact that they're put together not with margins and money in mind, but with putting the proper good equipment in the end user's hands.
This is a no-nonsense, not a comfort kit. It's a no-nonsense, save your life, get out of the woods, get out of the car, whatever your situation is. I love your medical kits. Obviously, you produced them before I got on board with independence training, but I'm a huge fan. It's what you make for the price you make it at. You can't beat it.
And we've got 5 different levels of kits, from the smallest little trauma kit all the way up to a big, large kind of multi-casualty kit. So check out our kits. Lots of cool stuff there.
I got to put a plug in here right now, as long as we're talking about medical kits.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go out and talk about ouchpouches.com.
Go ahead, man.
All right. So my wife, in concordance with a lot of requests and a lot of things going on, has started making her own miniature first aid. Now, this is a feel-good first aid.
Booboo kits.
This is the Band-Aid, the Booboo Repair Kit. Well, I'm so unprepared for this. I should know more about her product. It's a really cool kit. It's really focused for parents. People, it's something you can stuff in your IFAC. It's something you can stick in your pocket. And that was the whole concept. We have kids. We do a lot of, you do a lot of, I know you carry one now.
I do.
Big fan of
My
them.
wife carries one. I carry one in my truck, and I also carry one in my go bag.
And the cool thing about it is it can fit in your pocket, can fit in your pack, can go anywhere. And it's, it's Band-Aids, it's steri strips, it's moleskin, it's your normal hiking adventure boo-boos for the kids and even for yourself. It's got the stingies and things like that in there. So there you go, honey. You got your plug.
Make sure you check them out, ouchpouches.com, and also on Facebook.
Ouch Pouches.
She has a really cool video on the Facebook page describing specifically what it is, how to use it, the contents.
We're editing right now the contents video to talk about why we picked what we picked.
And of course, your wife's a veteran, 82nd Airborne. You're a veteran, 82nd Airborne. You can't find a better company to support than a local veteran-owned business.
I agree with that.
Do it. Do it.
For one there.
And they're not expensive.
No, they're very cost effective.
So
We've got 4 more companies to talk about. Tier Tactical. maker of a lot of great tactical gear, high-level stuff. U.S. Palm. They're actually right down the street.
Right down there.
Yeah, they're based in Scottsdale.
There's like out of this whole list, there's like 4 or 5 companies that are literally in the same complex as the Cowtown studio.
Right.
They literally could throw a rock and hit their door from here. So U.S. Palm is one of those. They're literally right down the hallway from us almost. Taser International. Do I have to tell people what Taser International makes?
I surely hope not.
All right, but they're local.
Cattle prods.
That's
For
right.
kids.
For kids. And Trooper Gear, who's run by our good friend Russell, who's been on the show talking about competition shooting before.
Yep.
Trooper Gear makes a lot of stuff specifically based for competition shooting.
Competition shooting, yep.
So check out Trooper Gear, another Arizona company. So those are all the Arizona companies.
Can we add some? Am I allowed to add?
Who do you got?
Gunslinger Tactical.
What do they do?
A lot of nylon and Kydex gear.
Okay, so Gunslinger
I know
Tactical.
Jason makes really awesome stuff, but I get my stuff from
Gunslinger Tactical. Okay, cool. So Gunslinger Tactical, Kydex holsters, and some nylon stuff. Awesome. So if we missed you, our apologies. Send us, your information to the email we've already mentioned on the show, and we're happy to add it to our list. If you want this list, you can email us and say, "Hey, I want that list," or post on our Facebook page. We're happy to send it to you. And then we're actually putting the list up on our Facebook page here. I think it's either today or tomorrow. So you'll see that whole list up there. So if you want to, if you're in Arizona, you want to support.
And Independence Training Facebook
Yes,
pages.
both on the Arms Room Facebook page and Independence Training's Facebook page.
And if you're one of these companies that we mentioned or didn't mention and you'd like to maybe come on the show and talk about what you make, then definitely hit us up for that. We'd love to have you guys come on.
Yeah, we love to have guests on the show. We're already starting to put together our June, July, August schedule. So make sure you contact us and let us know what you got going on. All right, next week on the show, we're gonna have our roundtable. We did a roundtable. We did a roundtable last calendar, and it received a lot of really good feedback. So we're gonna make a new roundtable next week. It's gonna be
clowns.
There's gonna be
talking about a bunch.
There's gonna be 4 of us in here. There's gonna be me, Brian,
Here. Yep.
Matt Dobson, and Derek, who came on the show.
Derek's gonna make it.
Yeah, he's gonna make it. He was here on the show maybe a month ago or so, talking about being a police officer and also being involved in competition shooting and why that's so important to him. And
why not enough cops do the same thing.
And why not enough cops get involved in shooting sports.
And of course, I will be here.
And Mason will also be here.
We have got to get rid of that microphone.
So what we're going to be talking about next week, we have 4 things that each one of us are going to spend just a couple minutes on. So just like we did at the last round table, we're going to spend like only 10 minutes per topic.
Yeah, because that worked out really well last time.
It was iffy last time.
Maybe we can get Matt to sit quietly for a few minutes.
And these are the 4 things that we're going to be talking about. We're going to talk about our favorite knives, our favorite optics for a battle rifle or in general, our favorite piece of EDC gear. So what's the everyday carry piece of equipment we don't go anywhere without ever? And what's our favorite home defense gun? All topics that people debate.
Wow.
All topics that people debate like nonstop.
Each one of
online.
those things could be a show in itself.
Each one could be its own show.
We should probably not take phone calls for that because somebody's going to be pissed.
So we're gonna talk about all those favorite things next week on the show. We've got so many good. I'm looking at the calendar right now. We have so many good shows coming up over April and May. So that's what we've got going on next week. If you have any comments or questions for us, of course, hop on our Facebook page. Leave comments on any of our posts. Make sure you check out our Facebook page. We've got tons of cool stuff we posted. As Brian mentioned, all our Hex Mag reviews or series of pictures is up there, as well as on the Independence Training page. All kinds of cool stuff. Email us if you have any questions. Until next time, stay aware, stay safe, and train hard. You've been listening to The Arms Room.
So proudly we hail, and the twilight lies gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. Young rocket trembling, the bomb busting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Just that star-spangled banner, yeah, wave for the land under the frame.